Chris, allow me to hand over to you. It's all yours.
Evan, can you see my screen? Is it coming up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the generous introduction. And Evan, thank you to you and the Business Agility Institute for this opportunity. Actually, I'm thrilled to be here today with Marina. So yeah, let's dive right in. Each of us only have 20 minutes to talk. We could probably talk on this on hours, so let's just dive right in. See if I get my slide deck to move. Okay, there we go. We'll skip this slide because you already gave the introduction. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to tell a little bit of a brief story about a company where I used my Agile framework for market entry. I call it Agile Market Entry. Then I'm going to then jump into why do we need Agile? Why do we need Agile Market Entry for this early stage from launch to the scale stage, particularly for disruptive new products. And then I'm going to just briefly scratch the surface on how do we go through this stage efficiently. So I can tell a story about a story of expression analysis, or the EA story. It's a company that I was the VP of sales for back in the day, and it's a bit of a David and Goliath story. So just to lay the groundwork a little bit, in the early days of EA, we raised about $2 million to kick the company out of the gate, and then subsequently raised another $4 million. This was the very early days of genomics and using genomic services to do discovery work in the pharma and the biotech industry. And we had a couple other competitors that started around the same time. One was GeneLogic, the other one was a company called Paradigm Genetics that then rebranded itself as Icoria. And those two companies raised to get started and kicked out of the gate, they raised on the order of $30 to $35 million. So hence the David and Goliath story. But EA, it was founded, one of the founders, Steve, it was his business plan in his MBA program. And one of the things that I came on as the first employee as a VP of sales and marketing, and within 30 to 60 days, it became apparent that the initial market that we were targeting as our beachhead market, big biotech and big pharma, just wasn't going to happen. They were not going to be our early customers for a myriad of reasons that I really don't have time to go into today. But literally right out of the gate, we had to take a 180-degree turn and go in a completely different direction. Fortunately for us, we were able to do that. And we actually developed the market of small academic labs, small government, NIH, National Institute of Health here in the United States, and small biotech labs. And we're really fortunate that, within about a year's period of time, as a startup, we were at cash flow break even. And over that 9 months, 12-month period of time, we kind of figured out that beachhead marketplace, how they responded, what the messaging was, what the sales cycle was, how to engage them, how to close deals. So at that point in time, as the VP of sales, I said, okay, we've got kind of this one figured out. Let's take this one and I'll hand this off to another person on the sales team and let him run with that. The other thing that became apparent about that period of time is that beachhead market, that initial market, was not going to deliver the promise that we had to our early investors. And we had to find a secondary market. And we ended up going back to the original market in the business plan, big biotech and pharma. But originally we had targeted the discovery side of the house of drug development. And at this stage, we were targeting the clinical side, which the big biotech part, they're more comfortable outsourcing there. But to do that, it was a bit risky because, again, this is a early stage industry that we're pioneering, and people were just starting to talk about or starting to head into using this type of technology at that stage. Well, we did a couple things that helped really kick that off and really advance us there. And I call them I call those market catalysts. They tend to be looking for lever points that a small, underpowered company can kind of act like a big player. And there was two specific things I designed and we did. One is we did the first ever collaboration with the FDA where we submitted genomic data to electronic genomic data to the FDA. First time it has ever been done. We did it with the FDA, our little firm, and Shearing Plow at the time. About the same time in the industry, there was this issue where there was a lot of variability from lab to lab to lab in analyzing genomic data, and it was a problem for the industry as a whole. So we actually created a product where you could look at variability across labs and start standardizing and qualify variability. Well, each of these things, what ended up happening is they came together, and the FDA actually, out of the two initiatives that we started at EA, the FDA actually spearheaded a consortium, which was a public and private consortium that turned into what was called the Microarray Quality Control Consortium. And the beauty of it, because we had spearheaded it, we were kind of right in the center of this whole thing. This tiny little startup was in the center of this big movement in the drug development industry. And that all those things coming together kind of launched us from becoming an industry leader. So how did we do this? Well, we did it by being small, nimble, smart, recognizing when we're going in the wrong direction and changing very quickly, learning from our mistakes, taking our wins and building upon them. Kind of sounds like Agile, right? And it was, if you think about it, it was purely Agile. Well, at the end of the day, here's what the outcome was. About 8 years later, EA was acquired by a company by the name of Quintiles, which has later become IQVIA, which is one of the major CROs in the world. And we were able to return about a 10 times return for our investors. GeneLogic and IQVIA, who raised over $35 million each for their enterprises, actually their assets were acquired for around $10 million each. Not such a good story. But so what is the challenge that we have when we're bringing innovation to market? And the challenges that I'm sure happened at GeneLogic and at Paradigm Genetics and IQVIA. Well, the first thing is this product development stage, when you go to market, and the stage from launch to scale is the most challenging time for any product cycle. And the data proves it out. So 90% of startups fail. 90% of them fail due to market factors, not product development factors. And if we look at how we invest in early product development products, we tend to heavily invest on the product side, not as much on the market side. Only 25% of the most highly vetted VC-backed ventures actually reach break even on the money invested. And this problem isn't just a small company problem. If you look at big companies, 14% of new product launches are innovative. That means that 86% of new product launches are what would be incremental or Me Too products. But of that small portion that's innovative, that 14%, they generate 61% of profits. So there's a disconnect here on how much we focus on the innovative versus the rewards they bring. And if we can move the needle a little bit here, we can have a huge impact on the bottom line. So let's look at the product life cycle a little bit and how we approach it. If you look at the product life cycle, if you look at the middle third here, when companies are at the growth stage, think Google, Facebook, Apple, and they're at the huge upswing and the growth of their sales, which driving the valuation of that organization's revenue. And the beauty at that point in time is margins tend to be high. So what drives valuation at its growth stage is revenue. As companies products mature out and the sales volume starts coming down and you get price erosion taking place from competition, what then drives valuation is efficiency. Okay, we pretty much all know that. But if you drop back into this early period, this launch to scale period when you're trying to get the growth, what drives valuation is time, but we don't generally think of it that way. If we can shorten the time to getting to the growth stage, that's what drives valuation in companies. Well, let's look at what kind of typically happens. What typically happens is we focus on revenue right out of the gate at launch, and we kind of act like companies at scale already. And what does that do? It does two critical things that are important, one, or that are highly important. One is at the launch, we have a huge marketing push. We have press releases, we have a big marketing push, we're in articles, we get out to all the shows, and we also scale up our sales operational expenses. You know, we bring on salespeople, we bring on a sales organization, we have a highly paid VP of sales, and what this drives up is sales and marketing operational expenses. But because we're kind of using the wrong framework to go through this stage, we tend not to hit our revenue numbers. Unfortunately, it's more common it's more the rule than the exception. So we have two things going. We have this huge increase in operational expense, also with typically a low underperformance on the revenue or the market side, and those two things drive down valuation. A report that comes out of the technology world, I work primarily in the life science and med tech world, but the report that comes out of the technology world called the Genome Startup Report, 70% of startups scaled prematurely, and that was the number one reason for the challenge, struggles, and the failures of startups. And they scaled in two particular areas. One was in product development, over developing features, but then more critically in the early market development, they scaled too early. They got ahead of themselves. So let's look now on the other side of the coin. We've recognized this, and we've started recognizing this challenge for early companies in this launch to scale stage. So, and we've made a lot of progress in years. So in the business model, we've got the lean startup, which has completely flipped the model on how we've done it historically. On the product development side, this is not my area of expertise. We've got Agile, we got design thinking, we have better ways of developing products to address this stage. And on the market development side, we have voice of the customer. We have customer development now, from Steve Blank and that type of stuff that are telling us to get out of the office, all the right things to do. But there's one area that we've had almost no innovation and no disruption around, and it's around the sales piece at this stage. And if we look at the typical conventional sales methodology, and I'll use the sales pipeline on the right to represent that, there's a hidden assumption in that is critical. And the assumption is that we have a proven process to scale revenue. And that's exactly what a professional sales organization has been trained and understands how to execute. They execute a proven sales process efficiently, and that's what a professional sales organization has been designed to do. We're just going to talk a lot more about that here in a little bit. But when you're launching a disruptive, new, innovative product, the fact is that the proven sales process is unknown. It's actually something we have to discover as we go. So that's exactly what Agile Market Entry is designed to address. So Agile Market Entry is an iterative framework that efficiently uncovers and codifies the repeatable sales process for innovative or disruptive products. Okay, that repeatable sales process can then be handed over to a professional sales organization to scale revenue. And there's two primary principles that hold up Agile Market Entry. One is this thing called measured burn, and we talked a little bit about this already, or what I call the Goldilocks burn, just enough but not too much to go through this learning process as efficiently, as quickly as possible. What we typically do, as we talked about earlier from the Genome report on premature scaling, is we actually overspend here. And overspend, we can't, not only does it not speed up the process, the overspending, a lot of times the focus on revenue prevents us from going through the learning efficiently. So that's one piece. The second piece is the goal becomes discovering the repeatable sales process. That is the goal, and that's what we want to do as quickly, as efficiently as possible. So we have this core conflict going on. At the growth stage, increasing revenue equates to increasing valuation. At the entry stage, a focus on revenue equates to decreasing valuation, which defeats the purpose. So this, and I'm hammering this one home. But the first major shift in how to do this is we have to shift our thinking. We got to shift from the focus, to shift from revenue to time. And the one reason I added this slide in here, right here, Evan, is that this is critical. If this shift doesn't happen, we won't make this changeover. And if I go talk to a VP of sales that's grown up in in my world, in the Boston Scientific or a company like that, and I go and tell him that we got to stop focusing on revenue coming out of the gate with disruptive, he's going to throw me out of his office. It's that ingrained to this day. But this is the first critical shift. So if we're able to make that shift, then what do? So the next thing we got to do is we got to shift from this, we got to shift our framework. We got to shift from an execution, an efficient execution sales framework, to a discovery, learning, iterative framework, or a scientific method framework. Because again, we now have to discover what the repeatable sales process is. So we come out, what's the assumption of what how we're going to enter the market? Okay, what's the experiment we're going to do in the marketplace? Instead of an execution, we're in experimentation mode, executing the experiment, but it's an experiment mode. Let's learn from that experiment, take those learnings and design the next experiment to drive us as quickly as efficiently to what a repeatable sales process is that then will drive gross sales. When we talked about EA, the EA story, we did this 3 times very early on. One is we came right out of the gate and our initial market entry point, big pharma, big biotech, didn't work. So we had to pivot, change. We learned that our assumptions were wrong. We changed our market. We created a new hypothesis, a new experiment. That one was successful with small academics, small government, small biotech. Then later on, even though we were successful there, it wasn't going to get us to the stage that we needed to be for our investors. So then we had to then create another, we took the initial market entry point that worked, we codified that, we turned that up to a professional sales organization, and then we started over on this discovery framework again for our second market expansion into big biotech and big pharma on the clinical side. So that's exactly what we did EA. So how's it look? We go through that. As soon as we identify the repeatable sales process, we wrap it up, put a big bow around it, and then we hand that process over to a professional sales organization, which is what's required for a professional sales organization to execute efficiently. And that's how we do it. This is the last thing around the how-to. I want to talk about the people aspect of it a little bit and the team sport of it. So the skill set of professional market entry is very different from the skill set of professional sales. And there's parallels, but there's some big differences. One of them is that the professional market entry is, those type of people are creators as well as executors. So they're the artists and the visionaries as well as the disciplined executors. I heard a good description of this is that I heard, and it explains it really well. They're the visionary doers, okay? Or in the Harvard Business Review article on the sales innovation, they call them the Renaissance reps. Now, you go into professional sales organizations, the way you find these people, they're called cowboys, rebels, and troublemakers. Because they're always ones that are doing their own thing, going off reservation, following not the rules as set out by the management team. So, and corollary to this, the management style of these folks has completely changed. So instead of a top-down, authoritarian management style, you have to shift to a bottom-up, egalitarian management style. And I find that I call it, we're digging it out of the dirt, because the information to uncover the repeatable sales process lives in the marketplace, lives with the customer. So you have to be pulling it out. So that's a bottom-up effort. So the management has to be a bottom-up effort. So it's much more, and then the team, and then because we're trying to find the good and the bad and the ugly, what's working, what's not working, and develop best practices, that comes from the team. It comes from the marketplace through the team, and then it gets filled out by management, but it has to come up through the team. So we have to operate as a team, and that's pretty, as Marina knows, that's not your typical salesperson who's independent, lone wolf, doing their own thing. That's a different mentality for them. So the management style, and then the hiring is completely different. I've been in a lot of companies doing this. The ability, the innate ability to do this early work, these visionary doers, it's probably about 5 to 10% of a typical sales force, the people that can do this. And then the compensation has to change because we get all this cross-pollination that's needed. I'm working with a client right now. About 2 months ago, we had our go-to-market kickoff meeting preparing for that, and we got to the compensation stage part of it. And what we decided as a team, when we close a deal, 50% of the compensation from that deal goes to the sales rep, 50% goes to the team to encourage this sharing, this cross-pollination, this learning together versus this independent lone wolf style. So I've been in many organizations. EA, this is the lab manager. She came to me in the very early days and said, Chris, the lab and the sales people never get along. It's just the way it is. But that's not the culture we built there. But we hear that all the time. You know, you hear it between marketing and sales in my world. It happens all the time. You hear it and probably in some of the audience's world, the product development side versus commercial side. We have this kind of animosity. And in a established company that have processes in place that are already proven and work, obviously it's not even ideal and it's not conducive to high success, but they can get away with it. In a startup, it is, when you're bringing innovation, disruptive products, where you're trying to figure out all these unknowns that touch on sales, product development, customer delivery, customer support, it's actually the kiss of death, and it will kill the launching of an innovative product. So so what we need there is teamwork, right? We have to be rowing in unison. We got to be working together. And with that, I think this is a good time to turn the conversation over to Marina to talk about, once you get to a repeatable process, now how do you bring Agile into your professional sales team to have a huge impact?
Thank you, Chris. It was so interesting to listen to you. And first of all, I would love to say, Evan and Business Agility Institute, thank you very much for this webinar today, for your supporting us, because we love Agile in sales, we love Agile in marketing, and we love your support during this time. And after that, I would love to know about our attenders. We have a chat, and I would love to ask, where are you from? And do we have some people from sales or from coaching or maybe developers? Because when we speak about Agile in sales, we have a lot of engineering people, software developers, and it's interesting. Do we have some people from sales today? Could you write in our chat where are you from? And thank you for attending us today. Mexico, I see, Moscow, Guatemala, wow. Australian, I think. Yes, we have some consultancy from sales process, sales clients, wow. Thank you so much. It is very interesting. It's great. Sales. Thank you, George. Very interesting. Okay. How much time do we have for my presentation? About 15 minutes we have, right? I will be very fast. And I know, and Chris and we know that it's how it's difficult to have just 20 minutes to share our experience, our knowledge, because we could speak about Agile in sales 1,000 hours, right? Okay, just a second. I will show my presentation. And there we go. Could you see my presentation, guys?
Yes,
yes, we can.
And I'm going to tell you why we need Agile in sales, and if we decided to apply Agile in sales, how. And a little bit, just a second, how it's going. Yeah, I see. some words about me. I have been working in sales more than 10 years, and last 5 years I help different organizations with agile transformation, and we always start agile transformation from sales. And today I will show you how we do it and what kind of result we have. And all company care about sales, care about money, and all company wants to increase their sales. But not all company care about customers happy, how our customers are happy. No, all companies care about satisfaction of our customers. And all people say that our world change and we need change everything. We need change structure of companies, we need change process of companies, and I'm sure that we need change culture of our sales and way how we sell. Because for example, 10 years ago, we pushed our client, we knew everything about our product, and our clients didn't know about our product, right? Now our clients are changed. They know almost everything about our product. They need something else. They need our attitude. We need ask their feedback, what we should improve in our product, what we should improve in our process of selling. And if we're talking about agile, it's mindset of people, this is culture of company, right? And we need to change culture of our sales because we need help our customers to get everything that they need, right? And this is two things. The first one, agile, it's mindset, and I am sure that all of you know about that. And it's interesting how we should change our mindset, how we should change our sales habits. And 5 years ago, I adapted Scrum in sales, but in Scrum we need product. In sales, we haven't product. That's why we adapt Scrum for sales, and now we have our own system for sales. We call it SWAY, Sales with Agile, and thank you, Evan Leyburn, for supporting this system. He helped us. And what is SWAY? We have Canvas for sales, and this is our backlog if we're talking about Scrum. And we have sprints. Usually we use 1 week sprint in sales. We use roles in sales. We have 3 roles. We have team, and in classic sales we have independency, right? Independence sales people. In agile sales we have a team where people help to each other, team where people support to each other. We change motivation, we change KPIs, we help people to be really one team. And this is one role. The second role is business owner. This person is, if we're talking about Scrum, in Scrum we have product owner, and in sales we have business owner. This person who has a vision how market are changed. He explore our customers. This is person who help our team. This person show what exactly our team should achieve. The last role it's SWAY coach. This person help our agile sales team achieve their goals. This person as a coach, as a facilitator, this person as a leader, this person as a mediator, and this person help to our agile sales team to be very effective. And this person helped to collaborate sales with marketing, because we see many companies where we have a lot of problems in communication between sales and between marketing. And sometimes we have cross-functional teams, and we have marketing people, sales people inside in our team. Sometimes we have just sales people or sales people in our team. It depends on the company, of the structure of company. The best thing then, we have sales and marketing people working together in the same team. Okay, we have 3 roles, right? Then we have sprints. Sprint, usually it's 7 days, like from Monday till Friday or Sunday. And we have Canvas. If you need, you can write us and we will send you a copy of our Canvas and copy of Sway guide. And we have 2 things in our Canvas. We have quantitative indicators and we have qualitative indicators. What does it mean? We have a sales plan. We have how much money we need to achieve, right? For example, $1 million. This is our goal for our team. And the second thing, it's about satisfaction of our customers. It's about feedback. It's about customer development of our customers. And we have 2 focus. The first focus for numbers, for money, and the second focus, it's for our customers. It's for our feedback from our customers. And every week we have planning session. Every day we have daily 15 minutes when our team standing 15 minutes and answer for 3 questions like what did I achieve yesterday from our goal, what I'm going to do today, and do I need some help? And the main idea of Agile sales team, that this self-organizing team, they don't need managers, they need leaders who help them have a vision, but they decided how they will achieve those goals by themselves. That's why it's very self-organizing team, very effectively team, and usually they increase their sales more than 3 times per year. And they have demo session when they show results for all company. And I'm sure that if we change our sales, mindset of our sales department or our sales, we automatically change mindset or culture of all organization, because salespeople, they communicate with marketing, with IT department, with executives, with financial, right, with HR. That's why in our case, in our Agile transformation way, we usually start from sales. And the most important session, it's retrospective. We have 2 types of retrospective. The first one for sales team, for Agile sales team, when they discuss how was their sprint. Because salespeople, they love to talk a lot, but they share their emotions very seldom. And it's important to have this retrospective for them. And where they spend 1 hour to communicate with each other, to say, to analyze previous sprint, previous week, what they achieve, what kind of problems they had, and something like that. The second type of retrospective, it's for cross-functional communication between different departments. When salespeople invite marketing department in retrospective, and they thinking what they should improve to be more effectively or to achieve their goals more faster. And this is very quickly about Sway, and this is a very important thing. Usually company, okay, another way, we have 2 ways when company decided apply Agile in sales. The first one, when they have a really problem with sales and they tried everything, like pushing their sales, I don't know, new KPIs, and it didn't work, and they decided, oh, Agile, let's try Agile. This is first thing. The second way, when company start Agile transformation in with IT departments, with developers, and after that they decided to be business agility company, and they start change whole organization, and after that they decided to apply Agile in Agile in sales. And when we apply sway system in sales, in the beginning people think that Agile, it's like some magic pill and everything will be by itself, and salespeople shouldn't change anything. But it's very deep work for changing culture and mindset of salespeople, because this is new world for them to take a feedback from our customers, not selling, just take money and forgot about them. That's why it's difficult for them, and in the beginning they have a problem with communication, they lose some numbers in the beginning of these changes. But after 6 or 5 months, they start change themselves, they involve, they really want to change something in the company. And usually, I told you before that we increase 3 or 4 times during 1 year. And Agile in sales help people achieve their financial goals, helps people feel happy, because it's interesting for them. They not just sell and forgot about customers, they start care about customers, and it's more interesting for them, especially for young people. That's why, for example, in this case, we start from 40% in sales targets, and we achieve 105% during 5 months. And the most interesting thing that it was the same people, it was the same company, it was the same budget for marketing, and they doubled their results because they really want, because they were like one team. And when people have one common goals, it help people really increase not only sales, they help achieve very fast their goals. And that's why our webinar, we call it Agile, like a one team, sales as a one team. And this is, in our changing world, it's important to be it's important for salespeople to be as a one team, not like in classic sales when they were like several independent people in the same department. And the second story, it's about one company which increased their sales. It's usually when we apply Sway, we increase our sales. But the most interesting thing that they had so great ideas in their retrospective, which they imply in whole organization, and they save a lot of money for this organization. They help change some process in this organization. And each week, each sales team have retrospective. And usually one Agile sales team apply more than 300 improvements in a whole organization, not only in sales department or marketing department. They start change whole organization because they start take responsibility, they start involve, they start very activity in this organization. That's why this is not Agile in sales. It's not only about increasing sales and achieve financial goals. It's about improving the way of selling. It's about improving some process in company, or structure in company. It's agile in sales. It's always about improving. And the next thing, it's it's about satisfaction of customers, because all of us, we are customers somewhere, right? And we love when company care about us. We love feel something more than just take our money, right? And in our world, we need change our organization, and we need to have one focus in our customers. That's why when we apply Agile in sales, our customers, they start feel it. They start buy secondary times. We see NPS, we achieve NPS targets, and this is competitive advantages, because we live in a world when it's easy to copy everything. Your idea, your product, I don't know, your kind of service, right? But it's difficult to copy culture of your company. And I think that this is competitive advantages for company when you change mindset of your salespeople, when you change whole culture in whole organization. And this way help to change mindset of people. And it's Agile in sales, it's about new ideas, it's about new improvements from sales in whole organization. It's of course, it's about increased sales, because Agile sales people, they really want to achieve more than they achieved, for example, yesterday. It's another culture for sales. And the last thing, it's about our customers, because everything that we improve in our company, it's everything for our customers. We try to improve our service. We try to give them product more faster than yesterday. We try to improve our product. It's about always feedback. What should we improve in whole organization? Because we want to make you happy, and our customers feel it. That's why they come to our company and buy more and more. And if you want to learn more, and if you want to read this SWAY guide, or you want to achieve SWAY Canvas, welcome to write us, and we will send you more information. I hope it's about 20 minutes or more. Sorry if it will be more. It's difficult to be in 20 minutes.
No, that's absolutely perfect. So let's move on to the Q&A section of the talk. So Hector has asked a question. Allow me, Hector, I will promote you to be a panelist. So when you have a moment, you will join. There we go, Hector. Welcome aboard. By the way, you will start muted. If you don't want to speak, that's okay. Just type. What was your question? You're on mute. I will ask Hector's question. What is the most important takeaway that you would like to share with us from your presentation about Agile sales? And this was, I think, directed at Chris directly, but Marina, I'd like to hear from you as well, but Chris first, please.
Okay, I'll be happy to go. So, Hector, I think the most important thing is the framework in which you're operating from at different stages of the product life cycle. That once you get to the growth stage and beyond, you're in a framework of execution. And particularly in the growth stage, the goal of that of that stage is accelerating growing revenue. In the early stages, the scale stage, where you're in this discovery stage, You got to shift from the execution framework to this discovery, learning, iterative framework, and the focus shifts from the revenue to the time to get to getting to scale is the key things, and that one shift will change all your behavior. The other thing I want to point out just briefly is revenue is important at all stages. It's just at the early stage, it becomes an indicator of whether you're going in the right direction or not. And it's one of the many indicators you have to monitor at that stage. So it's always important, but instead of being the goal in this early stage, it is an indicator of the direction.
Marina?
I agree with Chris, and I think that the most important, I think, it's understand that we should collaborate our marketing and sales together and change our attitude for our customers. The main goal of sales, not to sell anymore. The main goal of sales to help our customers be really happy about our product or about our service.
Excellent. More questions. Please either put your hand up. There's a hand up function at the bottom of the Zoom line, or ask your question in the webinar chat or in the Q&A section. I'll ask a sort of a quick question for Chris then. When you're talking about moving from creating this repeatable sales process, right, are there certain characteristics of that process that you've seen are sort of always true, right, which 80% of companies sort of have as part of that process? Or is there just a huge diversity of what those processes look like?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, Evan. So yes, there's, the basics of sales are pretty fundamental. Who's the right customer? What's their problem? How do you compete in that marketplace? What's the sales cycle? So, the basics you gotta kind of understand, that build the repeatable sales process. Yeah, they're pretty generic. Though every product is very different, and every industry is very different, and every call point in the customer is very different. So whereas you have a lot of this commonality and generality, the real impact lives in the nuance and lives in this uniqueness. And that's why Agile, especially in this early stage, that's why using a framework that's, I came to Agile, I just have been doing this for 25 years. I came to Agile about a year ago, got it, and found out I've been operating an Agile framework because of it. But that's why Agile is really important in this early stage, because it's this nuance, this change, this listening instead of pushing that you need to be effective, because that's what separates out the fair and the good from the great. Does that answer?
It does. That's excellent. So, Marina, a similar question for you. So, Sway is sort of an established, repeatable process. More, maybe I might call it more of a meta process. Each team will take it and make it their own, but Sway gives them a framework to operate within. For those organizations like the dental surgery who is adopting Agile in sales, are there specific characteristics, are there specific things they need to do in order to be successful, to make that mindset transition rather than just a process transition?
Thank you very much for the question. Sway, it's system, it's like a structure, but in each company, in each team, we adapt it for culture, for people. That's why it shouldn't be the main idea to use Sway or Scrum or Kanban. The main idea to achieve some results and adapt any system for the company. That's why we use it, but adapt in each time.
Excellent. So we have a question from Fabio. Do you mind? I will promote you to. There we go. I will promote you to a panelist if you would like to ask a question directly. And there we go. Fabio, you will start on mute with your video off. So if you would like to share. You'll need to unmute to ask your question. No, maybe this approach isn't working. Quick, okay, so I will ask the question. In Italy, we have a lot of small and medium company, which is, I think, true of most countries. And normally sales is the last wagon wheel. What is the correct way to start to change the mindset? What's the correct way to change the sales mindset to make them entrepreneurs or have that entrepreneur mindset? I hope I've asked the question correctly, Fabio. Chris, perhaps you'd like to take this? You're on mute.
So I'm not sure if the question, Evan, is how do you get them more entrepreneurial, or how do you get entrepreneurs to pay attention to sales versus all the product development? Is so I think so my thoughts here is, so I find this happens a lot of times when I have founders that come from in small startup companies where they're scientists by training and they don't have experience in sales and market development. And so it becomes the last wagon wheel that they pay attention to. And I actually see them, they tend to avoid it in a lot of ways because they're just not comfortable there. So I think there's a couple things that I try to do with them. First of all, there's no easy answer to the question. Second of all, I try to get to them early, and I've actually, instead of selling services to those people anymore, I don't. I say to an entrepreneur like that comes to me and is engaging with me, and they ask me how they engage with me, I say, listen, if you just want me to help you provide advice, if you buy me a cup of coffee and lunch, I'll give you everything I possibly can to help you out. And if you get to a point where you want to engage me and pay me for my services, that's fine too. But it allows me to start easily coaxing them in the right direction. So that's one thing. The second thing is I try to teach them how to do some little simple things, how to pick up the phone and talk to a potential customer. I'll even walk them through that and lead them through that once or twice so that they start getting comfortable with how to do it, number one, but also see the value of doing it, because what ends up happening is it messes with their assumptions around how their product is going to impact the world when they actually impact the world and the world says, oh, maybe you're not looking at this the right way. So doing those two things, first of all, gets them comfortable engaging the customer, and then second of all, starts opening their eyes to the necessity of doing some customer discovery work and engaging with the customer. Fabio, does that help answer your question?
You're on mute. That's okay. Marina, would you like to have what's your opinion on that?
I agree with Chris, and I think the first step, you should sell idea of agile transformation for any sales teams or any companies. You should explain what they will get if they change their mindset or way of selling. That's why this is the first step, to show them what they will get if they change their process. If I understand this question correctly, sorry. And Hi, Fabio. I know him very well.
Ah, excellent. Well, we are just about out of time. So I just want to take the last moment to thank Chris and Marina for their great insights. There was a question about the recording. Yes, that will be made available. It will be on our website in the next couple of hours. I will send a link to all registered attendees with that. And then, of course, it will be publicly accessible so anyone can watch it at some point in the future. I really hope everyone has a great day ahead, or had a great day, depending on which time zone you are in. I look forward to engaging with everyone through the Business Agility Institute and through our library. And I hope this was of use. Once again, thank you very much, Chris and Marina. Did you have any final words?
Thank you so much for everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Evan and Marina. It was a pleasure working with you as usual.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I will end the call now. I will end the webinar now. Have a great day.